Now this, the Supreme Court says there will be no decision on Trump's tariffs released today. John Yoo joining me this morning. John, welcome back. Good to see you again. Can you tell me what is holding up this decision?
Stuart, thanks for having me back. It's great to be with you. I could see two things going on. One is the Supreme Court knows that Donald Trump is abroad in Davos and is negotiating with our allies, and some of those negotiations involve the threat of tariffs. The last thing the Supreme Court wants to do, if it's going to strike down the tariffs or uphold the tariffs, is do anything that would interfere with the president when he's abroad. It used to be that Congress felt the same way, too. There used to be this tradition of don't attack the president when he's abroad representing the United States. Unfortunately, Congress has disabused itself of that policy for a long time, but not, I think, the Supreme Court. The second thing is, you're right, Stuart, though, there is an urgency to this decision, because if the court is going to strike down the tariffs, as a lot of observers think will happen, they need to get it done quickly so that the government could put into place a refund process and stop collecting tariffs, which will eventually have to return anyway.
Is there agreement within the justices? Because it's a very complex issue, and it may be that some of the justices have a different opinion on specific different issues within the overall question. Is that holding things up?
Hey, Stuart, you've been reading the briefs and going to law school, haven't you? Because you just figured out the problem here, which is there's several different grounds on which the justices could either uphold or strike down the tariffs. It may be the case that another reason we're seeing this delay is they can't come to an agreement on what is the best reason. So you have some justices who suggested an oral argument that the trade deficit can't be an emergency because it's been with us for 25 years and roughly the same size. There are other justices who clearly signaled an oral argument that they don't think Congress gave the president the power, even during an emergency, to set worldwide tariffs, only tariffs against individual countries or tariffs about specific industries. So it might be the case that they're still negotiating and struggling within the court itself to settle on one argument.
Okay. Federal Reserve Chair Jay Powell, he will personally attend the Supreme Court arguments tomorrow. This is in the case that will determine whether President Trump can fire Fed Governor Lisa Cook. John, is Powell's attendance meant to intimidate in some way?
That is a really, really bad idea. I was really surprised when I heard that Chairman Powell was actually going to show up at the oral argument. I think, if anything, it could backfire on him. You know, you don't see presidents go to the Supreme Court when they have the most important cases about their powers before the justices. President Trump, ex-President Trump, didn't show up at the Supreme Court when the immunity case, the make it or break it case for him during the campaign, got to the justices. You don't see members of Congress maybe rarely show up. Sometimes they do. I can't remember anybody from the Federal Reserve showing up. And this is the problem. Powell, I think, is escalating this fight when he should be de-escalating the fight with President Trump, and showing up at oral argument with this at the Supreme Court looking like he's trying to influence the justices. That's an escalation and could well make both the politics worse and even backfire on the justices who don't like the courtroom to be turned into a circus.
This is just fascinating. Can't imagine how it's going to work out. John Yoo, thank you very much for guiding us through these things. We always appreciate it, and we hope to see you again really soon. Thank you, John.